It's Stuart's Summertime Sound on WCFL's Beatle Concert Countdown, which continues live and direct from the International Amphitheater, which is already filling up with Beatle fans for the first of the two concerts today. A Beatle concert is sound. An interesting story about that sound, a direct interview from the floor after this.
Those are the Beach Boys. It's called Wouldn't It Be Nice. Right up here, Williamson has his lily pad hanging high over the amphitheater, and I'm looking down at the floor right now. One of my fellow VIPs is down there. I won't tell you his name, but he's checking everybody for peanut butter as they come into the door. Let's see what's going on, Barney.
Okay, thanks, Dick. And hello, people. This is a great day, I'll tell you. Listen, can I have your name?
No.
Oh, come on. Let me...
No.
What's your name?
Judy Ball.
Judy, and where do you go to school?
Keatone, Illinois.
Oh, hey, that's great. And do you have seats around in here someplace?
Second row.
Second row. When did you send in for tickets for those? You sent for them? It just so happened that you got second row tickets, huh? Well, that's great. And is this the first show that you've seen?
No.
Third for me. Third for you, huh? Second for you, and the first for you. So you're all anticipating different things. And you think it's going to be as great as the other ones?
Yeah, better.
Okay. Listen, thanks a lot, gals, very much for talking to me. Now back to Dick Williamson.
Okay, Barney, and you checking for those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Right here at the International Amphitheater, Beatle Concert Countdown continues. We have just about an hour and 35 minutes till the first show.
You are listening to WCFL. You have a massive classic.
Those are the remains of Little Diddy Wah Diddy right here in Williamson's World at the International Amphitheater. Looking down on the stage to Howie Roberts and Carol Simpson with another report.
This is a new experience for me, but here is an old hand at Beatles, and I do mean Carol Simpson. You were at last year's, weren't you, Pete?
I certainly was, and I can say it's pretty much the same thing. The anxiety, the electrifying experience looks like it's going to be another big one.
Yeah, well, you know, Carol, last year's was held out at White Sox Park. There was no roof on that. The sound had a chance to dissipate. What's going to happen this afternoon, Carol?
I'm terrified. I should have brought my earplugs. Howie, one thing I wanted to mention, I just noticed 4 girls walked by that had on shifts, and of all things, they were made out of the pattern of the British flag. And I think the British influence on fashion is very evident here. There are the mini skirts, the bell-bottom trousers, and the bright mod colors, splashes of colors. Of course, the hair on both boys and girls is long and straight.
Yeah, you do have trouble telling them apart, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You certainly do.
What else, Carol, can you draw as a comparison between this year's Beatles 1966 and 1965?
Well, Howie, the main difference I see is that the arena is filling up slower than it seemed to back in 1965 in Comiskey Park. Looks like the crowd's taking a little longer to fill the place.
Well, I'll tell you something, Carol. There are an awful lot of seats that you aren't aware of that are being filled directly behind you, for example, and all the way around. There are some 13,000 seats for this performance this afternoon and this evening. Well, Carol, I'll tell you, we're going to be set for a lot of noise, a lot of good sounds, a lot of good music for Beatles 1966. So now, back up to Dick Williamson.
All right, thank you, Howie, and we're right back up here, high above the International Amphitheater, taking it up to news time, a little wade in the water here with Ramsey Lewis. About an hour and 20 minutes until the Beatles take the stage on their first concert of 1966. More activity down on the floor to Barney Fipp.
Hello, people. It's Barney Fipp down on the floor, and we have some people around us that were going to say something. What was it? Well, let's hear it. Thank you very much. What's your name, hon? Chris. Chris, and you're in the back here someplace, huh? Yeah, and you're just going to scream and yell. This is next to the Beatles. The lights just went out here. They're testing them. And early... Oh, that's great, honey. Well, listen, are you going to see him? Oh, thank you. Back here in the gal. Are you going to be able to him?
I hope so.
You hope so. Okay, thank you very much, honey. It's and the circle you want to see too, huh? Yeah, it's a great supporting role too. Thank you very much. This is Barney Fipp down on 46-42.
Back to Dick Williamson. Okay.
Here's an Andy Frayne usher here with me. How does the crowd look to you yet?
It's pretty wild.
All right, do you have any fears about what may happen?
I just hope they have a rush for the stage.
Is this the first time you've covered a Beatle concert?
Yes.
It is? Are you looking forward to it?
Yes.
Why do you think it would be a fine thing?
A what?
Why do you think it would be exciting?
Oh, all the crowd and people yelling, and the band's playing.
Are you a Beatle fan yourself?
No,
Why not?
I don't care for the Beatles really.
Okay, fine. Carol Simpson backstage at the amphitheater. Back to the Dick Williamson program in 60 seconds.
What is arabesque?
Beatle Concert Countdown 1966 down backstage at the amphitheater and Howie Roberts.
I have standing in front of me right at the moment the British Union Jack. I believe that's what they call it, isn't
British flag, not a Union Jack. I don't like Union Jack.
it? All right, well, just tell me about it. What is your name?
Gail Santner.
This is?
Jean Wisnansky.
And this is?
Leslie Dory.
And this is?
Nancy Wisnansky.
Are you from Milwaukee?
Oh, yes.
All four of you?
Yes.
Where did you first hear about the Beatle concert? On WCFL?
We got our tickets from a good man from WCFL.
Whose name is?
Barney Fipp is a great angel.
He is indeed, and we all turn to peanut butter.
And Mr. Shaw. Mr. Shaw.
All right, now, first of all, let me ask you, did you sew these dresses yourself?
Everyone?
Where did you get the material?
In a department store, and the idea came from an actual English dress. It's made, an English flag. It's an actual to the inch. Correct. It's correct. It goes up, up, down, down. It's correct. To the inch. The dress is a British flag. Scale. Yeah.
Where did you first get the idea?
Oh, she thought of the idea the day after last year's Beatle concert. We were going to be different this year than everybody else. We want the Beatles to notice us. Yes. Our music. Yes. And we love England. And we love everything about the Beatles. And they're never going to die. And no one's going to kill them. Never.
The Beatles are going to be seeing them this afternoon. 4 girls from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, wearing the Union flag from Britain. Howie Roberts, and now back to Dick Williamson in 60 seconds.
Here comes a guy who looks hot under the collar.
Well, I got my lily pad hung way up over the amphitheater, and right alongside of me is a fellow who's seen 1 or 2 Beatles shows. This is your fourth tour, isn't it, Jim?
No, this is the 3rd tour. This is the Beatles' 4th invasion of America. Of course, the first time was to do the Sullivan Show and then a concert in Washington and then on down to Miami just for a little rest and relaxation. But this 3rd American Beatle tour looks like it's going to be a fantastic one. I was talking to Tony Barrow earlier today. He said this year, out of the 14 cities that they'll be playing to well over 1 million people this time around, because many of the shows are pretty equivalent to the 52,000 that they'll have at Shea Stadium once again, from what I'm told. Here at the International Amphitheater, we can notice a few changes and differences.
I was going to ask you about that.
In connection with the last shows that have been in Chicago. I'd say that the house is about not more than 40% full at this time, and I think that's a pretty good estimate. There are a lot of empty seats. Could be the fact that all seats are reserved, however, so there's not the imperative motive that they get here, so far ahead of showtime. But being only about, 20 minutes away?
Well, about 45, I think.
You would think that more of them would be in their seats at this time.
One thing I noticed, Jim, was that here in the amphitheater, we have many, many seats that are very, very close to the stage. Now, have you seen this in other Beatle concerts?
Never have I ever seen it quite like this, because all of the theaters usually have, maybe a 15 or a 20-foot expansion between stage and the first row of seats, and they also have a ring of ushers that go from one side of the auditorium to the other. Now, I don't know if later on we'll see more ushers move in across the front of the stage and be able to keep people back, but it's awfully inviting, I'd say, for the first 10 rows of people down there to have an opportunity to rush that stage.
Could get interesting.
It will be interesting to see if they try, because if they don't try, then there's a whole new thing for Beatlemania. It all of a sudden takes a different complexion than what we've described and seen before about these guys.
Okay, Jim, I'll tell you what, well, I'll be looking forward, and we'll come back a little bit later and talk and find out just what did happen right here on WCFL. Beatle Concert Countdown continues.
It's fun to play WCFL. And when you play WCFL, you win.
August 14th at McCormick Place. Triangle Productions proudly present
Howie Roberts with one of the security guards. Howie?
We're in a position that about 13,000 screaming teenagers would be proud to be in. We're backstage at the International Amphitheater at Secret Entrance X, because this is where the Beatles are going to enter the amphitheater in just moments, I'm sure. A gentleman with a pair of wire cutters in his hand, because the door has been wired shut to keep others out. His name is?
Dennis Walsh.
Who entrusted you to this important task?
Burns Detective Agency.
Fine. Have you been at the Beatles concerts before, Dennis?
Yes, I have, sir.
How many have you worked at?
2.
What do you think is going to happen when the Beatles go on stage?
Pandemonium.
Are you a good, steady hand with wire cutters?
Expert.
How many do you think know about Secret Entrance X?
None, I hope.
None, you hope. So there you have the situation. We're backstage. The Beatles are going to arrive at the International Amphitheater in a very short time. And now back to Dick Williamson.
Thank you, Howie. And right now for Magicus, those are the Ronettes, and they'll be the second act on stage this afternoon. We're just about 30 minutes or so away from the first show of 1966 for the Beatle concert downstairs with Howie Roberts and Frank Freed. Howie?
This is the man that Chicago has to thank for this afternoon with the Beatles in town. From Triangle Productions, Mr. Frank Freed. Frank, how does it look?
Well, it looks very great. The audience is assembling. There's about 11,000 out of about 13,000, and they're still streaming in.
The main floor is completely filled. I can say that for Frank, and the balcony is rapidly filling.
Filling up, so by the time the show starts, I don't imagine there'll be a seat left. It's been a very orderly, uneventful, but fun afternoon so far.
And it's going to continue that way, I'm sure. Fun is what these kids are here for, good, clean fun. Frank, tell us, how long does it take to get a production like this on the road?
Well, the Beatles were working on it from England since last February, and we started last March. There's a tremendous amount of organization and coordination that has to take place so that everything from the production end and making sure the sound is right to the tickets being sold.
And they were, and things are great. Frank Freed from Triangle Productions, the man Chicago thanks for bringing the Beatles. Howie Roberts, and now back to Dick Williamson.
All right, Howie, thank you very much. You know, ladies sometimes need to borrow extra cash, too. And
Mike O'Neill, WCFL News, standing by for Jim Runyon, live from the International Amphitheater.
Good afternoon. Our giant clock at the WCFL Beatle concert countdown has reached 0. Showtime is just seconds away. From our booth 70 feet from the floor and directly above the stage, we see a capacity crowd anxiously awaiting the arrival of the Master of Ceremonies to introduce the first act on the bill this afternoon, the first of the 2 concerts. The Remains will be the first act to be introduced. Joel Sebastian, fellow WCFL VIP, is on the stage now and approaching center microphone. We'll go down to the microphone, Joel Sebastian, and the opening of this Beatle concert.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds like we have some Beatle fans out there. On behalf of Triangle Productions and WCFL Radio, welcome to the first stop of the 1966 tour of the most fantastic guys in the world, the Beatles. I want to remind you to please stay in your seats. Do not crowd the bandstand. It is a fire department ruling on that. As you know, we have the action line at WCFL, and today I had the pleasure on my program of having most of the performers that you will see this afternoon. The first group of guys are 4 young fellas from Boston who already have a hit over there. I know you're going to dig them, because they already dig you. They said so when they were talking to you on the action line. So a nice big welcome from the greatest city in the world, Chicago, to the Remains. Let's hear it now.
And the first of today's 2 Beatle concerts, the first of this series of Beatle concerts in America, is underway. The first act, The Remains, coming on stage now, a capacity crowd. The other acts for today and tonight, the Ronettes, The Circle, Bobby Hebb, and the Beatles. Now from International Amphitheater, as the Remains begin the first concert, here's the #1 sound around our town, the Love and Spoonful and Summer in the City.